Time for our first keynote of the day. Please welcome to the stage, from Ahold Delhaize, Wouter Kolk, CEO Europe and Indonesia, and Selma Postma, Chief Digital Officer Europe and Indonesia. Wouter and Selma will be interviewed by Shoptalk's original content director, Ben Miller.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of you.
Wouter, Selma, welcome to Shoptalk Europe. We've got 20 minutes and we want to make this conversation a little bit different because we've invited both of you. And the reason why we're going to do that is it gives us the opportunity to dive into the strategy of Ahold Delhaize, one of the leading retailers, food retailers in Europe and North America, and then to really dive into the digital and how digital is enabling and driving that transaction. So,
perfect.
Wouter, I'd like to start with yourself. It's a tough operating environment. It's a tough climate in European grocery. What are the key priorities for Ahold Delhaize right now, and how are you setting yourself up for the future?
Thank you, Ben. And great to be here in Barcelona. I'm still recovering a little bit from a party last night. I hope more of you enjoyed Greg David. I thought it was a really cool party, so thank you for that. We just released our Q1 results yesterday. It is tough out there. Inflation, high energy costs, caring for our customers who are struggling at the moment. It's very tough, I think, out there. And I'm sure that the whole audience feels like, okay, what do we do as retailers to serve our customers best? Maybe a couple of words on Ahold Delhaize. I don't know if most of you know it. It's a listed company in Amsterdam. We have a big business in the US with brands like Stop & Shop, Food Lion, Hannaford. We have multiple brands there, and we have a European presence, very strong in the Benelux with Albert Heijn, Bol.com, Ethos, Gal & Gal, and Delhaize. And also Eastern European, we have a couple of very strong brands, and that's very much where our growth agenda is. At Ahold Delhaize, we basically have 4 big priorities that we work on, all of us with the brands. That's omnichannel growth. We really are true believers in customer lifetime value, so following the customers where they are in the different channels. So we invest and do a lot in that. The other thing is always very important is use our scale to buy better, to reduce cost, and to basically also make it able to invest in other things. And there are 2 other themes that are very important for us, is of course talent, diversity, equity and inclusion, the way we lead our 500 million employees across the globe. And last but not least is our health and sustainability agenda, the CO2 challenge that we have, food waste, plastic, so really and helping our customers to eat better and healthier every day. So those are the topics that are critical for us at Ahold Delhaize.
Maybe it's good to call out also a couple of our leading brands, because of course Ahold Delhaize is not a customer-facing brand, but we have brands in our family like Albert Heijn and Bol.com in the Netherlands, Delhaize in Belgium, Stop & Shop in the US, Food Lion in the US. So great customer-facing brands in the family.
Yeah. One of the things that Wouter just mentioned was about omnichannel, driving omnichannel, one of the priorities. Within Ahold Delhaize, what do you mean by omnichannel? How do you define it? How do you think about omnichannel?
Yeah, I think within Omnichannel, what we mean about that is that we really offer a unified and consistent experience for our customers that is also really personalized, because we need to make sure that when customers are really overflown with all kind of messages, whether in the digital world or in the physical world, that we really have the right message at the right customer at the right time. And then, of course, one of the biggest priorities in that is data.
Yes.
And then also immediately in that priority, there is data privacy that is enormously important. And for us, data privacy is really a key business priority. And that is because we really start from a simple truth. And that simple truth is that if a customer trusts you, then they keep doing business with you. And that is really consistent with, I think, what is the most important steering mechanism in omnichannel, and that is really customer lifetime value.
Okay. I'd really like to dig into that. Some fascinating topics we've brought up already. So how do you go about building that customer trust, particularly when it comes to the data that enables you to then start unlocking that unified and personalized experience?
I think making sure, one, that you handle data correctly, and for that, of course, you need to have the necessary tech to do that, but also making sure that you offer that relevant content each and every time, because then people say, okay, you know me, and you handle my data with care. That is important.
Yeah, and I think it's also good to understand we are not a new kid in town. I mean, our oldest brand, Delhaize, is 155 years old. Our youngest brand is already 25 years old, bol.com. So it also trust comes also with the years and how we've treated data, how we've asked for consent, how we've dealt with customers. So it's something we find very precious. We invest a lot of money in it, but it also comes through the years, of course. Yeah.
And your personalization and how you bring personalization into a grocery environment has been a real topic of conversation and then relates to all the other verticals of retail as well. So give us some examples of some of the practical things that you've done to try and bring personalization to your shoppers.
Okay, if you look at, for example, the value component, really important in our current time, always important for a grocer, but really important also in the current time of inflationary pressures. Of course, it's about offering the right assortment at the right price with the right promo to the right customer. And part of that is just generic in our stores, but part of that is also really personalized, for example, via our loyalty programs, where we can really offer personalized value. So that is one of the examples that I can give.
And Ben, when we are sitting here and talking like, these folks know best. I mean, it's for us also a journey. We started very simple with personalized offers. We had to learn that actually the way we organized ourselves was also stores and online, and we thought we need to link this. So we made also a lot of mistakes in the past. And so it's you grow and learn and improve, and that's also the mentality that we have at Ahold Delhaize. And it's super important in this space.
And just, I guess, one last question on this before we move on. You talked about linking the offline and the stores and how you've learned from that. Mm-hmm. Where are you on that journey? Because that's one of the really hard things in unified retail that people are struggling with at the moment.
I would say the fun thing about having an organization with many different brands is that we also have many different brands in different levels of maturity. And I would say that our Benelux brands are far ahead, and they're really acting like a front runner in this. So that they have much more experience, much more knowledge on this. But we have also brands in Eastern Europe where we are just trying and learning. And the good news is, and that's what Selma's team is doing, is bringing across these learnings, making sure that we work on the same technology stacks so that we apply immediately things that we learned from one brand into the others. And that makes us so strong together.
One of the big themes of the show has been around retailer relationships and how retailer relationships are evolving. And one of the big disruptors in that area is the emergence of retail media networks. Now, back in September, at our US grocery show, your CFO came on stage and talked about Ahold Delhaize's ambition to create $1 billion.
She gave us a target, you mean?
She gave you a target. $1 billion from complementary revenue streams. So I want to understand what that looks like. Where are you on that journey to meet your target there, Wouter?
Well, it's our target. And all the others, team members who are working for Ahold Delhaize now. But it's very clearly, and I've seen also talks from John Lewis and Migros and Coca-Cola today or yesterday and the day before about this topic. It's of course media monetization is a big topic, also for us. It's for us an income stream which we need to invest our personalization, to invest in value, to invest in our omnichannel journey. So for us, it's very critical. It's not something, it is new in a way, and we will also share with you what is new for today, because we have some quite exciting news to share here. But, when we look at the brands and especially on trade marketing, we've been collaborating with each other already with CPGs for many years. I mean, about promotions, about the brochures, about all kinds of different customer interactions. And we do want to bring it to a next level, basically. And it's because the technology helps us, our data pools are helping, and so that's what we're also trying to build. And maybe, Selma, it's nice if you explain a bit more of that excitement.
Yeah, because of course $1 billion is a massive number, but at the same time, we already run media services with a couple of our brands. Ahold and bol.com and Delhaize in Belgium are really innovative and successful in that space already. They really focus on endemic partners, so partners that sell products in their stores, for example, Coca-Cola that was on stage here also. They are in a journey, relatively successful. If you look at Albert Heijn was in Europe the first, and I believe even in the world, to have an omnichannel closed-loop measurement. But also if you look at bol.com, if you look at the algorithms like driving forward sponsored products, it's about customer relevancy, but also about predicting conversion so that you can really have a good balance between customer and advertising. So we have some ground to stand on already. And then, of course, we see also a next step. And the next step is that we really want to make sure that we combine the qualities that we have in the market in the different brands. And that is also why we want to work together with the brands in the media services space.
Okay, great. So tell me, what does that next step look like then?
Yeah. So what we are going to launch is AD Retail Media or Ad Retail Media, which is really focusing first in the Netherlands and then in Belgium on non-endemic partners, so partners that don't sell products in our stores, and really making sure that we offer them access to what we have, our consent, our reach, our personalized experience, and really making sure that we give the marketers of the world the opportunity to build awareness and consideration, and in the end, also conversion.
Okay, really interesting. Look, so thank you for sharing the launch of your brand new initiative. What I'd like to do is spend the rest of this time where we've got together to explore some of the thinking that's led to it, but really from some of the challenges that are coming out of the industry around retail media, and be interesting to hear how you have thought about these challenges when you're thinking about the future for Ahold Delhaize in this space. And the first one is around fragmentation. So we hear criticism from CPG partners saying it's difficult to build profitable retail media or get the returns because it's so fragmented. How have you thought about that? Has that been important in your consideration?
Yeah. Now I will say something, and then Selma can give you the real answers. But I think a couple of things that are also on our minds when we also thought about retail media. Of course, we can use the data points that we have in our brands, and we can combine them as well, as long as customers give us consent and we do it on a safe way. We need technology to do that, and Selma can explain a bit more on it. What we're also looking for is, we are in such a new phase in our retail industry. We need new standards as well. Like, we have been, and I think it's 50 years now ago, the barcode.
Mm-hmm.
But the barcode has been instrumental for our industry. And we need new kind of barcoding, and we need new kind of standardization, also for kind of like retail media. But we also need standardization for instance, for online. And even if you look at the crates, or even if you look at the way we distribute online, it's all different measurements, it's all different things. So we need to create new kind of standards that we, retailers and CPGs alike, can use again to make our business more efficient. And so when we launched this, we also thought about, okay, can this be the standard, or at least share it and build together with others on a standard, so it's easier to advertise, it's easier to work with, we don't have waste, it becomes more efficient. So that was also in the back of our minds, is like, okay, how can we help also the whole industry with more standardization?
So, Selma, what does that practically, that sharing, trying to create standards, what does that look like?
Now, maybe also first, if you look at where the fragmentation starts, is first in tech, because you have an enormous amount of tech solutions that you, need to do retail media, but also you have an enormous amount of people that offer tech solutions. A lot of them are also here in the audience. So we invest heavily in our own proprietary tech solution. We also do partnerships. For example, we have a partnership with Delhaize to make sure that we can process our data in a responsible way. That is important. With that, we of course create also some sort of a walled garden around our customer data, which is important because for us it's data privacy is key. But that walled garden, of course, offers fragmentation for advertisers.
Yes.
So they're not that fond of it. But if you standardize the way how you measure that there is a standardization across, that really can help advertisers out. So I think making sure that we have a standardization across measurement is important, that you have a standardization across formats is important. So you can do that by collaborating together.
And you mentioned Delhaize in that. For those in the audience who aren't familiar, tell us a bit about the background of that and the role that it plays in your tech stack.
Yeah, Delhaize is a technology company that we take a minority stake in, so it's really a tech company. And for retail media, you need a huge amount of applications, and their real stronghold is in the processing of the data in a privacy-proof manner. So they are just a valuable partner we work with.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the next element is around trading relations. Yeah. So with traditional buyer-seller trading relationships, they're now being flipped, or the potential to be flipped, as you are now selling, you're not just selling to customers, you're selling to CPGs as well. Yeah. And how we best do that as an industry. Yeah. Whether it's the same, all go through the same account managers and the same buyers, whether it's having different teams, whether it's part of one business. When you've been thinking about setting yourselves up in the future in this area, how have you thought about this challenge?
Well, it's a good challenge, and I must say that some of our suppliers and partners are better geared for it than others. But we will have to talk to trade teams, we have to talk to the CMOs, we have to talk to different kind of functions in the organizations. It's also sometimes where we are organized locally, but we're also organized from a European point of view. And so that's also sometimes where we have to find each other in the long run. I think it will be a journey, to be honest, and we will learn and we will grow, but that's at least our ambition. And also, if you look at things the way they went 10 years ago are going to be different, and this will be a difference as well. And other retailers are stepping into it as well. We will have to collaborate to work on that standards, but it's going to be the new future, that's for sure.
And in terms of your capabilities, we talked about your suppliers' capabilities, but your capabilities to be able to sell, are you expecting your trading teams to do this, or are you setting up your retail media division separately?
Yeah, we have within our brands already separate retail media divisions. We have aligned incentives internally to make sure that everybody is moving to the same direction. But we really want to offer an alternative and an add-on to TV advertising and normal digital advertising, really to drive home the marketing funnel that every marketeer is after. So that is the intent. So it's an add-on to the trade money. Yeah.
Okay. But with a driver to keep it separately.
Yeah, and because we have strong local brands, and of course they already have a lot of relationships going, we also build more pan-European, more Benelux, but also in the US, by the way, also stronger relationships with partners. So here we also will have to find each other. Everybody's a bit like, ooh, how are we going to do this? We would just have to test and learn and see how it goes.
I think what is really helpful for us, because we already have that family of great local brands, we need to look for our internal standard anyway, because every brand is operating in a different market. And I think that is also why we are focused on making sure that we have a standard that works for more than only one company, because we need to facilitate all our brands in our markets.
Yeah. Look, the third big challenge, and in the time remaining, it'd be really remiss that I didn't put this one on the table, is the challenge of retailers taking their eyes off the ball, if I'm being really honest, of not serving the customer, but concentrating on driving profit and revenue from their supply partners. Tell us, how does customer thinking and value creation fit into this model? Is it on the priority list, or actually do you just need the revenue to drive the other things you were talking about earlier?
I mean, and again, we are talking very specific about this topic because it's new and it's happening right now. But of course, the majority of the teams are still just working on the customer relationships. I mean, if you talk to my colleagues in the stores and retail media, what do you mean, Wouter? They are just focused on that. So we'll make sure that we'll keep the eye on the ball, and especially in these difficult days and difficult times with inflation, energy, and I think another thing is important. What I also try to share here is that We are trying to also create standards. We are trying to, migrate into the next phase of retail. But there are also more topics coming up where we need to collaborate as an industry.
Yep.
Scope 3, scope 1, 2, and 3, our footprint is critically important. I cannot do this alone. We need each other here and also everybody in the room, but also out there. They need to also help. And we also there, and we need to create the standards. It's also about healthy living and healthy eating. Our Nutri-Score, other systems that we can use to help customers to choose better. Those are things that are coming up, getting more and more important, and we as an industry together can really make a step on that.
Okay, so cooperation to add value for the consumer. There's no better way to end. Please join me in thanking Selma and Wouter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.